back to my channel. I'm Sonia, aka Sonia Blade. If you're new here, welcome, welcome. And if you're returning, well, welcome back. As you can see in the description box below, you can see that I am starting my new series today. I will be uploading these videos on Monday. This series is going to be something totally different than what I'm doing on Fridays. This past week I had technical difficulties with all this shit that I was trying to get out. I learned my lesson with some stuff. You know, making these YouTube videos, you guys, they're not easy. Sometimes they're like super hard. You run into technical difficulties. I'm running late on stuff sometimes. Just trying to get everything done, get my, live my life with my kid and my fiance and just all kinds of stuff. So it's just been really, really hectic for me, but I'm still being committed and I'm still sticking to what I said. This series is about my dental experience in the dental field. I just recently did a job transition and I talked about it in my last video. And so my fiance and I were just kind of like throwing some stuff around the other day, just chit-chatting about just some of my experiences. And then I thought, man, I have so many stories. I could probably make a whole series about it. And so that's what I decided to do. Now, I do want to say this though. I do use code names. I will not be using code names for the doctors though. I will be hyphenating them to, like, if his name starts with a P, I'm going to say Dr. P or Dr. H or Dr. That's how I'm going to kind of do them. Everybody else gets code names, of course. I am going to specifically say a few of the jobs that I worked at because I have to. So I am throwing them under the bus. Yes, I am, because I just feel like I'm trying to be as authentic with my stories as I can. I've been so obsessed over this, you have no idea. Like, I got this idea Saturday night and I'm like, okay, I gotta put this out like right away. Like, I was so like just ready to come home and start recording and start making videos and start putting it out. You're just gonna hear about it all. I think every job has things that go on. I don't feel like this is just specifically towards the dental field. I feel like every job has some kind of drama or things that go on, and sometimes people can't talk about it. I'm actually part of a lot of Facebook dental pages, and I actually put it out there to them first. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a series. What do y'all think? And they're like, do it. So y'all hyped me up, just so y'all know. They hyped me up. The dental community hyped me up. They're like, do it, do it, do it. I'm like, yes, I'm going to do it. So I was very excited about it. I do plan to do something towards the end of the series, like maybe do a YouTube live or a Facebook live or something to just kind of, because somebody made a comment like, oh, well, you should have a guest star because we have stories. I'm not going to have a guest star, but I do think that a live would be appropriate. So that way y'all can just start telling me your stories. You could do it anonymously, like if you don't want to tell because you don't want to get in trouble, because sometimes that's how the jobs work. Or if you don't care and you're just like, yeah, I just want to talk about it in the live, then whatever you want to do, you guys. Like, y'all can comment below, let me know some ideas, what y'all feel like y'all think would be the safest way. Again, I try to be respectful, but my videos are very raw. They're very upfront. I tell it all. I do not hold back. So get ready, buckle up, go get you some snacks, go get you a drink, because I have 14 and a half years worth of events that have happened, and I'm going to start from the very, very beginning. So this is Teeth Tales, episode 1 of the dental drama. All right, so let me just start off by saying how I got into the dental field. I really just want to say that, give a little backstory so that way you know exactly how I got into it. I was 22, living on my own with my kids, and I get a phone call one day now I had graduated with 2 scholarships, but I had to jump into the working field right away because I had my 2 daughters in high school. So I didn't have the luxury of going to college. I always wanted to go to college. I just wasn't given that luxury. When I graduated from high school, I had to go straight into the working field to take care of my kids. So I went and just kind of found my way. I did sales for years before I became a dental assistant. I was a sales manager of a company, a furniture company, a rental furniture company. I actually have great stories about that experience. Oh my God. But this is not going to be part of it. I would tell that in a tea time. I do my tea times where I just tell little bits of things that I've gone through. I would save that for a tea time. this is nothing but dental. So I worked in sales. I worked as a sales manager for this rental company, and I worked with them for a while. I actually really liked my job. The bad part was that it was a lot of politics in that position that I was in. A lot of politics with that company. I just was not into playing that type of role. I just wanted to make money. I did work a lot. I worked like 60 to 70 hours a week, and I only made like $9 and like 70 cents or some shit. But I did get commission and I did get bonuses and stuff. So that really made up for it. And I was really good with people, and I really liked people, and sales just kind of let my personality out, and so I really enjoyed it, just the interaction. But I was getting tired of working those 60 to 70 hour weeks and not making shit. And so when I graduated with 2 scholarships, and they ended up calling me and saying, hey, your scholarships are going to expire if you don't use them within the next year, because they were only good for 5 years. So they were like, if you don't use them, then they're going to expire and they're just going to go to waste. That's money just you're throwing away. So my mom calls me up, and I'm talking to my mom about it, and she's like, yo, there's a school that just opened here in Ferris. She's like, I think it was like a physical therapy, medical assisting, and dental assisting. In all honesty, you guys, the only reason I picked dental assisting is because it had the shortest amount of time that I had to go to school. That's it. That's the only reason. There was no like, oh my God, I've always wanted to be in the dental field. Nope. I said 20 weeks, 25 weeks, 10 weeks. Oh, I'm doing the 10 weeks. So I did a 10-week program where I went to school to be a dental assistant. Now, I know there's other schools out there that you have to go for a whole year. We didn't do that. We did 7 to 8 chapters a day. I had to go to school 8 hours a day, and we had to do labs on the weekends. So I did not have time to work at all. So I ended up filing for unemployment, getting my unemployment check. I also got a tax return around the same time. I moved back home, and I went to dental assisting school, and I used my scholarships. So that's how I just kind of fell into the dental assisting role. I wanted a career, something that was going to make me more money, and that's how I got in. Now, this school was brand new. I think we were the 2nd or 3rd graduating class of the school. It was brand new. And so I get in, and I think our class had like maybe 15, 12, somewhere around that range of people. Right away, I had 2 teachers, and you could tell the difference between the 2 teachers. One of the teachers was like this really strict, really just really firm teacher. Like she was a sourpuss. We're gonna name her teacher sourpuss because she was so sourpussy all the time. She was just so negative. She looked like she had a stick up her ass, like totally. And so I hated when she had to teach us some of the subjects, because I'm just like, God, like, why do you have to take things so serious? Like, come on, like, we're adults. You're not teaching high schoolers or middle schoolers. Like, you're talking to grown ass people. Like, I think the youngest girl in our class was like maybe 19, but still, we're grown. We're grown up. Like, there's wives and mothers sitting in this class, and like the way she talked to us was just like, you don't have to talk to us like that. And she was just, like I said, like just a stick up her ass. Like, then we had another teacher, and we're gonna codename her Miss Sweetheart, because Miss Sweetheart was just so sweet. Like, she was so nice. She was the sweetest thing. She was so laid back. We had so much fun with her. I loved when she taught, and she was just, like I said, just so loving and inviting, and be like, oh, if you don't understand, like, I can stay after class, I can talk to you, who needs extra help. Like, she was just so sweet, and like I said, just so laid back, so chill. So there was just never a break. We never had a break. I would have to stay up all night long just to finish my homework, and they did us backwards. We're like, we were taught so many subjects, so many things, like chapters, and then we would do the homework for the next 6 or 7 chapters that we did the next day. Like, I didn't understand that whatsoever, because I'm like, why are you giving us homework for subjects that we haven't even gone over yet, and we don't even know how to answer this? I don't understand. That's just how they did it. I don't know if other fast dental assisting schools do that, or vacation schools. I mean, again, please comment below for anything that you have to say about something that I'm bringing up, because yeah, it was just it was just really weird. But I did really good. It really caught my attention. It was really interesting. I mean, we did little bits of like anatomy, a little bit of biology. Like we touched base on little bitty things, but they were all like more towards the head area. There was nothing below the head that we had to learn about. So, I mean, I learned quite a bit of things, and I really, really liked it. I'm not a big fan of science, like I'm really not, but it was really interesting. So I felt like I'm gonna be good with this. Like I felt like it was my calling. At the classroom was downstairs, and then our lab was upstairs. So whenever we got ready to do lab stuff, we would go upstairs and like practice X-rays on each other and practice impressions. And again, whenever Miss Sourpuss did it, I hated it because she was just such a bitch. But when Miss Sweetheart would do it, like she was just so nice about it. Now our class was divided into two groups. There was a majority of, and I'm not trying to sound racist or anything like that. It was just a majority of like housewives, like white housewives, and they kind of have already clumped their group together that they thought that they were better than everybody else. Whatever. I wasn't there for all that. I'm not in high school. Like, I'm not here for a popularity contest. I wasn't like that in high school, so why would I be like that now? But then I had my little group, and honestly, we were the cool group. There was 5 of us in our group, 4 or 5 of us. So it was me, and there was a girl, we're gonna name her Maria, and she was the oldest one in our group, and she was actually the coolest one. She had a house with her sister out of Midlothian. She would throw fucking parties. We would just go out there, swim, get drunk. She was even like a groupie to this like rock band that would travel around Fort Worth, and we got to travel with her and just follow this rock band. I wasn't a groupie, but we would follow this rock band and stuff, and it was really, really awesome. There was another girl, and I actually had graduated with this girl. We're gonna code name her Griselda. So Griselda graduated at Ferris with me in 2002, and then Maria was the oldest one of the group, and then there was another girl, and I can't remember this girl's name, but we're gonna code name her Dolly. I don't remember her name, but I remember she was like the youngest one in the group. She was barely old enough to drink. If she could, even if she was, I think she was the 19-year-old. I don't even think she was old enough to drink. I think she was the 19-year-old. I know she was the youngest one. But she was actually like a tomboy, like really laid back. She just kind of wanted to, I don't really think she made anything out of her dental career. She wasn't even interested in dental assisting. I'm like, why are you even here? So I can't remember why she said she was there, but that was like our little clique, and we were cool with being the outside group. Like, we didn't want shit to do with the other group. Like, we weren't there, like I said, to be Miss Popular, to kiss Miss Sourpuss's ass, because the other group would kiss Miss Sourpuss's ass, like all up in her ass, like nom 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 nom, like eating the shit out of it, like Cookie Monster, like the fuck out of here. I ain't got time for that. So there was one time in school where we took lunch. We could just leave off of campus and go take lunch. And so we went to the next town, and there was like a little Mexican restaurant there, and we went to go eat. And while we were there, we ordered a margarita. One margarita. One. I'm 22 years old. I'm a grown ass fucking woman. Like, I can have a margarita. So I had a margarita. We all had a margarita. And I remember Dolly was like, oh my God. And then we were like, what? And she's like, there's some people sitting behind us, and it had the school logo on one of the bags. So we thought that maybe it was one of the other teachers, a part of the school, because we had to wear like these purple scrubs with the names of our school on them. And so Dolly was like, I think those are some of the other teachers. What if they go and tell our teacher? And I'm like, what does it matter? Like, we're grown-ups. Like, we were not told we couldn't have an alcoholic beverage on lunch. Like, I don't think this is a big deal. Not like we're out here taking shots and getting drunk and shit on the bar. Like, come on. We're having lunch and we're having a margarita. Like, it's not a big deal. I didn't think it was a big deal. So we have our little margarita, we eat our lunch, and then we go back to the school. Right away, here comes Miss Sourpuss. She walks in the door, and she looked pissed off. She looked fucking livid. And honestly, it didn't dawn on me that maybe she found out anything. I really honestly didn't care. But I didn't think that anybody told her. I don't know. I just thought maybe she was just having one of her little Sourpuss days. So when she walked in, she looked mad, furious. She was red, she was pissed, and she slams the door, and she stands in front of everybody, and she's like, I want to know who it is. She's like, I was told by another teacher that we have students drinking on lunch. That is not okay. That is frowned upon. You're wearing our scrubs with the school. Okay, I get that part, that we're there representing the school. But at the same time, again, I'm 22 years old. I'm a grown-ass fucking woman. I got 2 kids. Like, who are you to be telling me? Like, there's no policy in the book that I read that we couldn't have an alcoholic beverage on lunch. Like, it's school. It's not like a job. Like, I wasn't going to work. Anyway, I just didn't think it was a big deal. I really didn't. So, we weren't gonna tattletale on ourselves, so we just kind of sat there. And of course, the little clicky click, the Barbie group, they were like, oh, it wasn't us, you know, we wouldn't do that, and we're blah, 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 blah. Like, shut the fuck up. So, Dolly, for whatever reason, I have no idea, but Dolly stands up and she says, it was us. Bitch, you are not going to have a margarita with us again. I was so mad. I'm like, are you kidding me? So, of course, Miss Tharpus is like laying into Dolly, just like laying into her. And I stand up and I say, look, I'm grown. I don't know what the big deal is. If I want to have a margarita on lunch, I don't see what the big deal is. We weren't getting drunk. We're not even drunk. I was like, so you have no business giving me a lecture. I'm a grown-ass adult. Well, she tried to tell me that I needed to go home, and I was like, I'm not going home. Like, you're gonna need to get the director because we're gonna have to talk this out. Like, I'm not going home. And she's like, well, you need to go to the director and talk to her. And I'm like, that's like sending me to the principal's office. Like, I'm not leaving my seat. I'm gonna stay here and continue the rest of my day. So she storms out because she's pissed. Because what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So she goes out, and in comes Miss Sweetheart. And Miss Sweetheart's like, it's okay. I'm going to continue the rest of the day. I just told her to go home. So apparently, Miss Tharpus told Miss Sweetheart, and Miss Sweetheart was like, hey, calm down. It was one drink. Like, they're adults. Calm down. It's not like they came back rowdy and disrupting class and drunk. That'd be a totally different thing. Like, leave it alone. It's not a big deal. Miss Tharpus can handle going back into the classroom. Apparently, my face disturbed her at that point. So she was pissed. So Miss Sweetheart finished the rest of the class. So guess what we did? We decided to rope in the other little clique. I don't know how we did it. Honestly, it was so long ago, I don't know how we did it. But I just remember a few days later, we got that other group to come with us, and we really did go get shit-faced on our lunch up the street. There was a bar in Bristol, because I lived in the country. So there was a bar in Bristol that you could drive down this dirt road, and it was like a little, like, the only bar in Bristol. And so we went out there where I thought it was the coolest shit. Like, it was kind of creepy, but at the same time, it was cool. Like, they had this soccer player who they would tell, like, these people, like, who they were in their lives. And the soccer player, I don't remember why he died. I think he had cancer or something. He died of cancer. And they had him displayed up like he was blocking, like he was a goalie blocking a ball about to go into. I'm like, what the fuck? This is so weird. And then they had a lady at the end who was pregnant, and she died within her 9th month of pregnancy. And she was displayed, and her stomach was open where you could see the baby. I'm telling you, it was weird, but at the same time, it was the coolest thing. Like, if you are uneasy in the stomach, I recommend that you don't go. But I was fascinated with it. It fascinated me. We actually rode with Miss Sweetheart there. I will always remember that because she drove an Audi, and I remember it was the first time I ever sat on butt warming seats. I thought it was the coolest shit. I was like, oh my god, like, these warm up, so cool. I don't know, it was weird. But then she took us out to have drinks afterwards, which was even funnier because I'm like, dude, like, you're the coolest fucking one. Like, I'm so glad that we're your favorites and not her. Anyway, so I graduated April 1st, 2007 of my dental school. I was so excited. I thought I'm gonna go on to have this amazing career. They were telling me, oh yeah, you're gonna make $13 an hour right out of school, blah, blah, blah. I mean, $13 ain't shit now, but I mean, for somebody who was making like 9 something, like, to me, that was good. And I was super young. So I just thought I couldn't do anything but go up from there, right? I go out there into the dental assisting world, and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna be making $13 an hour. It's gonna be awesome, and I'm just gonna be amazing. First of all, nobody wants to hire an RDA with no experience. Nobody. I think nowadays it's more acceptable than back then. I don't know what it was, but nobody wanted to hire me with a 0 experience. And they frowned upon my 10-week course. They're like, what? How the fuck did you do this in 10 weeks? Nowadays it's very common to have those courses, but back then it was very uncommon. You see, RDAs, you didn't even have to be a licensed RDA to work in the dental field until 2006. Me personally, I think that was crazy because I feel like anybody in the dental or health field should have a license, period. That's like saying you can be an RN, but you learn on the job and you don't have to be licensed. I mean, probably like 50 years ago, but I'm sorry, I don't want anybody touching me that does not have a license to do it or had some kind of schooling or education behind it. I was actually glad they passed that law. You don't even have to really go to dental assisting school. I don't even know if you know that. You still don't even have to go to dental assisting school. You can actually just go and take your test if you want. You can actually still get hired at a dental office without your license. Learn on the job, but you have 1 year from the time you get hired to go and take your test to become an RDA. I don't know if you know that. So, I mean, I have mixed feelings about it. I really do. But me personally, I think you should have a license. I think you should have some kind of schooling behind it. Just being thrown in like that, no. I got my first job at a South Texas dental. I'm not going to say what location it is. There's so many locations in Dallas, Texas. I don't even know if they're international or not, but I just know that that was my very first job. I got hired at a location in Dallas at a South Texas dental. What was crazy about the whole ordeal was that I was told later on by the manager that she only hired me because she thought I spoke Spanish. And later on they found out that I didn't. And I'm like, why would you assume that? Like, no Nintendo. No Nintendo. I don't speak Spanish. Don't look at this and think that I speak Spanish. Does this look like I speak? I don't really think my looks look. I don't understand. Like, that was weird. I don't put that I'm even bilingual. Like, my shit is so fucked up. Like, I don't even tell people that I'm bilingual. Like, I could cuss you out. Now, I'm going to say this, and I stick by this to this day. And this is something I tell every new assistant that I run across. It is always going to come down to your first job and your coworkers. Every office has what they call a lead in the back, a lead assistant. The lead assistant is responsible for everything that goes on clinically in the back, not the admin side, but the clinical side. It's like having a supervisor. It's literally like having a supervisor. Or I was also called one title was back office managers. But that's what they are. They manage the back. They're supervisors of the back. They run the back. They do everything from making sure that lab cases are going out and in at appropriate times. They are responsible for ordering supplies in the back, making sure that everything gets ordered, budgeting. They're responsible for training new assistants. They're responsible for the flow of the floor. They're responsible for inventory, making sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, making sure the doctors have what they're supposed to have, making sure that all the OSHA requirements are being done. So if OSHA ever walks to the door, you have all these regulations that you have to do. So they have a lot of responsibility on their shoulder. And I am going to just say it, and I've said it for my entire dental career. I know for a fact that how I got as far as I did is because of my very first lead. And we're going to codename her Nancy. Nancy was the first lead I ever had at South Texas. And the very first thing she told me on the job was, if you want to make money, and I am money motivated, and so was she. If you want to make money in this field, you have to become an asset. Meaning, you have to not only do your job, but do it to the best that you can and learn as much as you can. If you can do it under your license, do it, learn it. Try to be as valuable so you can be an asset to the company, and that's how you're going to make money. I took that with me for my entire career. Anybody can make a temporary, but can you make a good temporary? Anybody can take impressions, but can you do a good impressions? Like, yeah, a lot of people can drive, but Can you drive well? I don't. I drive like shit. I'm not gonna lie. I hit a curb all the time. You know how many hubcaps I've lost? I'm dead serious. So after about a month, then I could slowly move on to working with the doctors. Now, a lot of dentists are not keen on working with new assistants. They don't like it. They don't have the patience and they don't like it. It's very, very rare in the field where I've seen dentists who are like, yeah, we'll work with the new guy. No, they're full of shit. They do not like to work with new assistants. Now, especially at a busy office, they really don't want to work with new assistants. They're about production, about getting money. And so they just want to keep going and going. It's like a cash cow. South Texas was like a cash cow. Like, they treated the patients like cattle, like hurting them in and hurting them out. They didn't care about what went on with the patient whatsoever. They cared about their money. So the only dentist in the location there that would work with the new ones was Dr. B. Dr. B worked way in the back, and he had been with the company for the longest. And so he was a really like nice older Arabian guy. He had a thick accent. Now, he was a really nice guy, but he was a fucking shit for dentist, dude. Like, I'm telling you. I assisted him one time where he was trying to give the patient a shot down here, because there's like a nerve down here that you have to numb in order to numb the whole jaw, and the patient's screaming their fucking head off, saying that it hurts, something's wrong, and he's telling them, calm down, buddy, calm down. And I look over and the fucking needle sticking out of the guy's cheek, and he's squeezing the anesthetic into the room. Yeah, he did stuff like that. I remember one time we were doing a root canal, and the roots were like this, and he put the file. So in a root canal, they stick these little files into your teeth. Your teeth have nerves. They have little canals, and they have nerves in those canals, and they stick these little files in to clean it out really, really good, to get all that infection out. And so had the guy had 2 roots like this, and he stuck the file in between the 2 roots like that. After that, your tooth is done. Your tooth is compromised. You're gonna have to pull it. So, and if a dentist does that, he's not that great of a dentist. He's either underqualified to be doing it, or he's just a shit for dentist. This guy was just a shit for dentist. I'm sorry. So he split that guy's tooth in half and then told the guy that, oh, the tooth failed. No. So yeah, we would have to lie to patients sometimes. It was pretty crazy. Don't get me started on the children. My heart broke for these kids. They really, really did. Like, if your kid goes to like a corporate office, I'm telling you, you want to be back there. But I learned something working there. So sometimes the kids are kicking and screaming. I'm going to tell you like this as a parent, as a mom, okay? If you're a patient and you don't know anything about dental, let me just break this down to you. Take your child to a pediatric dentist. Take them. Do not take them to one of these corporate offices, because these people don't care. They don't. Again, they're about production. And why would you traumatize your child? Because these people will sit. I've had to sit on a kid to hold them down. Or they have what they call a papoose board, which is like a surfboard with these things that strap your child in. Now, I get it that sometimes that's for the child's safety, but if your kid is screaming, kicking, crying, shouting, do not make your child be strapped down or held down by strangers to get their dental work done. You will mentally traumatize your child. I do not agree with parents that did this, because it broke my heart to have this done. I had to literally sit on kids, lay there while they were screaming and crying and trying to get work done. For one, how are you supposed to give good dental work when you have this child that will not be still, that's screaming? Like, first of all, what if the child really is in pain because you didn't numb them enough? How are you going to know, because this child is screaming no matter what? It just goes against all my ethics to just like do this. And the girls in the back, whenever stuff like this happens, we always use 3 assistants. One assistant holds the child from under the neck like this and pushes the forehead of the child down to keep the child still. The other assistant assists, and the other assistant lays on top of your child and holds your child down. Now, I'm not going to say that parents don't know this, because that's the fucked up part about it, is a lot of parents knew that this was going on and they approved it. They were like, yeah, just hold them down, get whatever work can be done. Again, why would you do that to your child? I don't understand that. And sometimes when the parents weren't in the room, the girls would sharpen their nails into little points, especially the middle finger, so that when they're holding the child, they would stick that in the tenderness of the back part of the neck, and they would tell the child, you're going to get poked every time you move. And so the child would stay still because they didn't want to get poked. Yes, dude, this shit happens for real. I needed my experience, so I had to stick it out. Now, I did have a really close connection with Nancy and the girls there. Nancy had been there for so long, and a lot of the girls were with her, and they knew her for so long. And so we would actually go to her house and like go play dominoes and just chill. She would have parties, we'd go drink. Like, she was really, really chill to hang out with. I really liked her. But eventually, like I said, she was money motivated, so she was offered a job at another company, and she ended up leaving after about 6 or 7 months of me being there. Once she left, the other girls kind of followed, not her, but they just said, you know what, we're going to leave too, because they didn't feel like they were getting paid enough. So they decided to leave too. And so I was the only one left. There was a sterilization tech, which sterilization techs do not assist. They actually just sterilize all the instruments, clean the rooms, things like that. So she really didn't know how to assist. So it was just me and her. They brought in a traveling assistant that he was part of South Texas, but he traveled to different, also had a great lead, like I said. She stuck that with me in my mind, and then she started training me. And I love the way she trained me, because that is actually how I continued to train my assistants when I became a lead. So she stuck me on x-rays for a month. I was pissed. X-rays is boring, and it's not like things nowadays. Like, nowadays we have a sensor where you can take an x-ray and it automatically goes to the computer. No. Our x-rays were done on film. And we had to take these films, snap the x-rays, take them to the back room in this pitch black room with a red light, stick our hands in this machine blindly, open with gloves on, open the little slimy with spit on it and sometimes muckles, open it up, take that film out, stick it through this roller. It goes through the developer, the fixer, it rinses, and then the x-ray finally comes out. It is a process. It is not easy. It takes 15 to 20 minutes to get all this done. And then sometimes you look at it and they come back to you, and so like, okay, so my job was to take the x-rays, put them on the side, somebody comes and grabs them, takes them to get them developed, and then keeps coming back, and we're going like this. You know, I hated when that other person would come back and be like, yo, this x-ray is not any good. You missed the whole fucking tooth. So now I gotta, and you have patients that are waiting, and they're multiple patients. This was a corporate office. This wasn't a private office. We saw 80 to 100 patients a day. Yeah, that is fucking crazy. We were busy. So imagine having to go in that order, try to go as fast as you can, and then somebody comes back and says, hey, you missed this whole tooth. Oh my God. And this patient's already coming up to go see the doctor. So now I gotta stop the line, go back, find this other person, try to snap it again before the doctor gets to them, because the doctor won't even see them unless they have the x-rays. And then the patient's upset because they're wondering why it's taking so long. Oh my God. Working there was a sink or swim situation. And I started a little bit after, I started like in May, because I graduated in April, so I started like in May. So I was coming into the summer months where all the kids are out of school. It was, oh my God, telling you, working there, it was a sink or swim. But in all honesty, I felt like it's what made my career, because I had no choice but to be good at my job. If I couldn't be good at my job, I mean, you could not survive there. Me personally, I think the problem was that I was younger than them. I was 23 at the time. And these were like older women. So they really didn't want to be listening to me. They didn't. And I knew that they had a problem. They all decided all of a sudden that they didn't want to do whatever I had to say. They didn't want to accept it. So it made it really hard for me to try to navigate this new group of girls that came in. But I did still try. There was one incident where we were so busy. The manager was like, everybody pitch in, $5 so we can order pizza and we'll get all these orders together, and then that way we can have lunch as we go throughout the workday. It happened a lot, so it wasn't uncommon. So I went around and told the girls, like, everybody pitch in $5 and we're gonna order pizza, whatever. So from Pizza Patron or something, like a cheap pizza place. And so it's like a Little Caesars, about a Mexican Little Caesars. So they pitched in their $5. We put in the order, and I told them, once the pizzas get delivered, we'll put them in the back room. And as you have some downtime, just a little moment, just run back there, eat a few pieces of pizza, and come back. So they were okay with that, but one girl. So me and this girl, she just didn't like me. She didn't like me. And again, I felt like she had a problem with me because I was young and she was older and she felt like she knew better. And so at the end of the day, everybody could turn in their $5 but her. So I asked her, because I actually fronted the money to get the pizzas. So before we left for home, I asked her, I'm like, hey, you're the only person to give you $5. Do you want to give that now, or do you want me to wait till payday? Like, what's the deal? And she's like, oh, I'm not giving you my $5. And I was like, why? And she's like, because you didn't order the pizza that I asked for. And I'm like, yeah, everybody's pizza was back there. She's like, no, it wasn't. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it was. I put in everybody's order. And then she just starts cussing me out. She's like, you're a fucking bitch. You think you're better than everybody. You think you know shit. You don't know anything. I've been doing this for so many years. Like, you don't tell me what to do. And that's how I kind of figured. I knew that was a problem. So I went back there. I didn't even say anything. I go back there. I grab the pizzas. I find her pizza at the bottom, which she didn't even look. I opened it, and I said, this is your pizza. I was like, you know what? You can take it home if you want. Like, it hasn't even been touched. I was like, I'm just showing you, I did order your pizza. And she's like, well, I'm still not giving you my $5. And she jerked the pizza and she walked off. So I was just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what the fuck? So I go to my office manager, Jesse, and I'm like, look, this is a situation, because everybody heard us fighting in the back. Like, I wasn't saying anything rude to her because I wasn't trying to lose my position, but she was going the fuck off. She was just like flying the fuck off. She's like, we can meet in the parking lot after work. I was like, okay, bet. I'm not scared. Like, don't think just because I'm sitting here not saying anything, I will not put my hands on you. But at the same time, you're not about to get me riled up. Like, I'm still in my position. I'm still clocked in. If that's what you want to do, we both about to get off real soon. So everybody heard the commotion. The dentist, the assistants, everybody. So they go run into the front. They call my office manager. Jessie comes back there, and she's like, I need to talk to you. So she tells the other girl, you need to go home. I don't want to see you in the parking lot. You need to go. So I'm just like standing there like, why are you not firing her? Like, don't just tell her to go home. Like, you need to fire her. So she takes me to the supply room and we're talking, and I start telling her what the situation was. I'm like, look, I don't know what's going on with this group, but I can't work with them. They don't want to listen. They're insubordinate. All the dentists complain about them, that they don't do good assisting. I don't know what you want from me, but you gave me a group of girls that are just incompetent. So I was like, I don't want her. I want that girl fired. Like, she straight up called me a bitch, talking shit, and she's threatening me. Why is she still here? So Jessie agreed. Jessie's like, okay, I'll fire her. So she's like, well, if you want, she said, there's a position open in another location. She's like, it's not a lead position, but they do need an assistant. And a lot of those doctors, they travel. Those doctors, the only one that stayed there at that location was Dr. B, the shitty doctor. And so she's like, the other doctors travel to several of the other locations. She's like, and they like you. She's like, so if you want, I can send you to this location. Which I was cool with that because it was actually closer to my house. It was actually really, really closer, much closer. So I was like, okay, you know what? I can actually do that as long as you keep me at the same pay. Like, that's fine. I don't care about the whole lead position right now. Like, to me, I was still learning how to be an assistant. I was like, that's fine. So she's like, I'm still going to fire the other girl, and then we'll just have to deal with this group. Because it wasn't even about me not knowing how to lead. It was more this, I couldn't work with this group. Like this group, we just couldn't work together. There was just no working around it. Like, I'm sorry, but they just weren't a good group. And I was frustrated every single day to go to work, and I'd have to hear the bitching of the doctors. And then the girls don't listen. And then my office manager, she's not trying to fire them. So I was kind of stuck with, what do I do? You know? So I had to think of myself. So she's like, okay, I'm going to put in a transfer for you for the other location. And the transfer got approved, and they agreed to do it after Christmas. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll just stick it out till then. So the other girl ended up getting fired, and I stayed there at this location. Now, Christmas ended up coming up, and I was so excited because they had this bomb-ass fucking Christmas party planned. And I'm not gonna lie, of all my 14 and a half years, this was probably the best Christmas party I ever went to at the company. Like, they did it big. They had it at this really nice hotel, and they rented out this hall. They rented out this venue, the entire venue. It was an open bar. They were giving gifts away. They had a badass DJ. It was so excited. I was so excited. And all the locations of all the South Texas and DFW were there at this party. So I ended up taking the guy that I was dating, Ivan, which is I've told the story of Ivan. This was the very, very beginning of our relationship. So I took Ivan, my baby daddy Ivan. I took, he turns into my baby daddy later on. But I took Ivan, I took my brother, and I took my best friend, my ex-best friend. And so she was actually kind of messing around with my brother at the time. So we went as two couples. And so we get there, and we're just like so crunk. We're like, yo, like this is fucking lit. Like, we were really surprised. And so we're drinking, we're having a good time, we're dancing. I mean, I got fucking wasted. The DJ was hitting, the dentist that we were all real cool with, like all the dentists loved me. So they all came out there and they're dancing with us and we're having a good time. And I was just so super stoked. So me and Ivan just dancing our ass off. I think I ended up winning like an iPod. Everybody could win something, and they gave us like raffle tickets, and I won like an iPod, which I was like all excited about. And so we had actually had like our own little table, and I had a camera because I took pictures on my phone. I had some money with my purse, and I left it on the table with my best friend and my brother because they weren't dancing. So we're out there on the dance floor, we're having a good time, and then I noticed that my brother is dancing next to us with a girl. And I'm like, and he's having a good time, not like he's not, but I'm just like, dude, like where's Pamela? And he's like, oh, well, she didn't want to dance. I asked her if she wanted to dance, she didn't want to dance. I'm like, so you just came and started dancing? He's like, yeah, like fuck it, why not? I'm here to have a good time too. So I was like, okay. So we walked back over to the table, and I noticed that Pamela's gone. Now, Pamela was our ride. We rode with Pamela to this party. Oh, while I'm in the middle of this, by the way, walking back to my table, I ran into the other location, the location I was actually about to transfer to after Christmas. So I walk up to them, and their lead, we're going to codename her Veronica. And Veronica ends up walking up to me, and she's like, hey, are you Sonia? You're the new girl that's coming to our location, right? And I'm like, oh yeah. And she's like, here, let me introduce you to the table. So I was like, oh, cool. So I walk over and I'm like, hey everybody, and it's all these like Mexican girls. I think there was one black girl, but most of them were Mexican girls, and they were all really pretty, and they were all dressed up. And of course I was dressed to the nines because I always dress to the nines, baby, no matter where I go. And so I had on some heels and like a badass dress and I walk over and I'm like, hey, how's it going? And I'm thinking like, oh my god, like they're so pretty. And I finally get to be with a group of like Mexican girls, not that really matters, but I was just like, it reminded me of when Nancy and the other girls, when I first started at South Texas, that's how we started out, was, that they reminded me of them. And so I'm just like, oh my god, like maybe I'll get to get back with the really cool group again. And so I was like all excited, and I was tipsy, of course, because I'm super friendly when I'm drunk. So I'm just like, oh my god, hey, what's up? How's it going? And all these girls are just looking at me like this. Stank face. Like stank face. And I'm just like, really? Like, again, this is what I'm gonna have to deal with for the rest of my life. Like, again, like, I'm telling you guys, this is why I don't have girlfriends. I don't like fucking bitches. I just don't. I have a really hard time connecting with girls because of shit like this. Like, I'm not here to compete with you, babe. Like, I'm here to be on a team. Plus, there's really no competition, sorry. But I'm just like, dude, like, what the fuck? So I'm just standing there like, okay. And they're just like, hi. And then they just turn and like completely ignore me. And Veronica, she's really nice. She's just like, they'll come around. And then she just sits down and then they just start talking. And I'm just standing there, left there hanging like an idiot. And I'm just like, well, fuck y'all too. Like, I guess this is what I'm going to be walking into. So I turn around and I walk back to the table, my personal table. So as I get there, because I'm sure not fucking talking to my location. Like, I don't want shit to do with them. So I walk over to my table and like I said, Pamela was nowhere. So my brother comes off the dance floor and I'm like, yo, like, where's Pamela? Like, did she go to the bathroom or something? He's like, probably. I'm like, did y'all have it out? He's like, yeah, we kind of had it out because she didn't want to go dance. So I was like, well, you kind of were dancing with another girl, but I get it, okay. So we're sitting there, and 30 minutes go by, nothing. So I'm like, let me go check the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom, she's not out there. I go outside because she smokes cigarettes, not out there. So I'm just, yo, like, where the fuck is she at? I'm calling her. My brother's calling her, she's not answering. I'm like, I think she left us. I think she fucking left us. This bitch. So we go outside and we're still calling her. I'm texting her. I'm like, did you leave me here? How dare you leave me here? Like, okay, I don't give a fuck if you left my brother. Like, what about me? I'm your best friend. And you left our table unattended with my purse, money, my camera, like my phone. Like, everybody could stole that shit. And you just dipped. Like, you didn't even come and say, hey, Sonia, you know what? Your brother's pissed me off. I'm about to dip out. I would have been like, cool, let me go with you because you're my ride. Like, come on. Nothing. She's not answering. So Ivan's like, you know what? I'm just going to call my mom. They live like in uptown and we were downtown. So he's like, we live close by. Like, let me call my mom so she can come pick us up. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just going to have to go to your house until I get a ride in the morning, I guess, to my car. And he's like, okay, that's fine. So Ivan's mom comes to pick us up and we're in the car. We're bitching and complaining. And then finally Pamela calls me. And she's like, y'all just left me sitting at the table while y'all were just off dancing. Bitch, nobody told you not to go dance. That's not our fault. I'm not going to be sitting there like boo-boo the foo with you, you know, with stank face because you don't want to have a good time. Like, it's not my fault you didn't want to dance. Like, but you should have at least came and told us that you wanted to leave. That has nothing to do with me. I was like, you fucking just left us. Like, yeah, I'm mad right now. I don't want to talk to you. We'll talk tomorrow, but you need to pick me up tomorrow because I need to get back to my car. So anyway, after Christmas, like we planned, I ended up going to the other location. And I don't regret it. Now, I did have a hard time coming in, but I don't regret it whatsoever. And so I'm going to leave off there. So next week, I'm going to talk about what happens when I get to my new South Texas dental location and how that went. I did have some pretty crazy shit that happened there from me personally. But at the same time, I had great connections. Like, I still, to this day, talk to Veronica. She's on my Facebook and my Instagram, and I follow her. And again, the dental field really felt like a family community after a while, and I've always taken something from each of my experiences. But we'll get into that next time. Thank you anyway for listening. This is my new series. I've been so excited to start this series once I figured out that this was what I was going to do. Again, this will be separate from my videos that I drop on Friday. Right now, I'm doing Halloween stuff. So every Friday, if you are new and you don't know, every Friday I do drop something that's going on. And for the month of October, I'm doing makeup tutorials on costumes. And I talk while I do it, of course. So until then, thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and the little notification bell so you know when I drop my videos. Until next Monday for the continuation of Teeth Tales, I do appreciate it. Don't forget to love yourself because you are all you have. Thanks.
don't even wanna go back.